Everybody, this is Angelo Quinones, and it says over here, have this attitude, tuta phranete in Greek, have this attitude in yourselves, which was also in Christ Jesus. Who? And that's found in verse 6. Who, although he existed, the Greek word is subsisting, who, although he existed in the form of God, did not regard equality, Greek word isa is a neuter plural for equal. Okay, he did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped. Okay, now verse 7, but emptied himself, taking, Greek word labon as a participle as well, taking the form of a bondservant and being made in the likeness of men. Now, what does it mean being made? Well, his flesh was made. It was made by him. Okay, also. So that says that he made all things, panta, including the flesh that he dwelt in, the tabernacle. You know, he tabernacled among us and we beheld his glory, kabod in Hebrew, in the Hebrew New Testament, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. He made that. Okay, he came. Okay, he came via the seed of David, spermatos, and that's very strong. The spermatos of David. Okay, spermatos is in the genitive of seed. Okay, you understand? Verse 3 of chapter 1 of Romans. Very strong word there. So his flesh was made. That was the only thing that was made that belongs to the Logos. Okay, nothing else was made. That's the only, his tabernacle was made. It's a question about that. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, that's just it. Now, let's just read this again. The reason why he gave, okay, verses 6 and 7 is because there was a problem in Philippi, okay, in the Philippian church. And people were not, living in harmony with one another. And that's a normal thing that family members wouldn't, agree at all points in time. We are human and we're not perfect. So that's just a deal. But, this is laid out as an example, as a pattern that we should follow the steps of grace. And it says that in 1 Peter. Okay, so the same thing is said here. But the mind has to be, filled with these thoughts. Okay, the mind is the thing that has to be renewed. Okay, first, before anything. Okay, be transformed in the renewing of your mind. Before anything else, before all of the teachings of sanctification in specific church, functions and things like that, and even our attitude, to the state and to governments and to powers and authorities and to one another. Chapter 14, disputable things, eating and drinking and not eating and drinking, all that stuff, and sharing. Romans chapter 15, spreading of the gospel, among other things in chapter 16. I mean, it starts with the mind. And as you see that in verses 1 and 2 of Romans chapter 12, it starts with the mind. It starts here with the coconut. It starts here, right here. Okay? All right. So, tuta phranete, have this attitude, okay, in yourselves, which was also in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, you see, and we're looking at, at the Greek and the English as well, as a matter of fact. Now let's go to, I wish this app could keep, the next day could keep the book that we were in. I mean, it'd be just it's not a big deal. But now I have to go back. Now, let's see here where I am. Okay, let me see if I can read. Verse 5 is right here. And here we go. Tuta phranete en humin. Okay, ha, kai, and Cristo, Yesu. Now, I went through the construction of this already. So if you want to check out the full Greek construction of tuta phranete, so on and so on and so on, you have it in a previous study. Okay, so tuta phranete means this attitude. Okay, let this mind, phranete. Okay, it's an imperative. It's a command. You understand? Tuta means this from the Hutas paradigm. Tuta phranete, I'm at verse 5. And this is why he wrote verses 6 and 7. So he kills three, actually, birds with one stone. Listen, he approaches the problem of having divisions in the church. Okay. And so that's a problem. So he deals with that, but like the Apostle Paul loved to deal with other situations also while he was talking about one thing. He was talking about marriage really primarily, and then he talks about slavery. If you can be free, use it rather. He talks about circumcision in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 while he's talking about marriage. You understand what I'm saying? He mentions those things to be content in your calling. Okay, so if you're married, okay, be content with that. If you're single, be content with that also. Okay, but it's not wrong to get married. Okay, so as a virgin marries, she has not sinned, etc., 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 according to your situation. Now, it has to match the Bible. Okay, very intricate, these things. Tuta franete en humin, hakai en Cristo Jesu. And we saw that's in a dative case. Now, check this out. You see this verse 6 where it says has over there has like an O and a little squiggly line. That's a rough reading marker. And it's not it's ha according to biblical Greek, and then you have a final sigma. That's has. That's a relative pronoun referring to an antecedent, the nearest antecedent. What's that? Jesus, Yesu, in the dative. It doesn't have to match cases. The only thing that has to match, okay, it has to match. If you're looking for the antecedent of a pronoun, you have to make sure that it matches, okay, gender and number. Okay, gender and number. The case doesn't have to match because has is acting in a certain way within the clause of has, not outside of the clause of has. So it doesn't have to match the dative, okay, Yesu at all. Okay, it doesn't have to say who, to match that. So tell the witnesses that. All it has to do is match gender and number, and you're off to the races. Now, has en marfe theu huparkon. What does that mean? Huparkon. Well, I mean, let's check it out. It's a participle, and it means to be. It's one of the meanings of huparkon. So let's check out 5225 in the George Riker Berry's Greek lexicon. It's a nice little lexicon from a man who actually is famous for his Greek interlinears, the Textus Receptus and King James interlinear, which I have a copy of. Thank God. I'm glad I have a copy of it. Now, so let's check out this word on page 153. 153. Now, 5225 is the Strong's number tagging this. Okay, huparko, it says over here, huparkon in the actual text, in the biblical text of Philippians chapter 2, verse 6. But over here is spelled out, okay, upsilon with the rough reading, so you got hu, and then you got a p, so you got hoop. And then archon is spelled out alpha with the acute marker. That's where the accent is focused on. Rho, ki, or chi, omega. It means to begin to be. That's one meaning, possible meaning. And then, but it means also to be originally. Okay, to subsist. That's another meaning. Okay, hence, check this out. Generally, to be. To be. So that's the general meaning of this. Remember, this has a semantic range. Just like arche has a semantic range of rula and beginning. Two different meanings. Okay. But according to the context of Revelation chapter 3, verse 14, beginning there has to do with the source or the architect of creation, of God's creation. Okay. Now, to be. Now, this is found and located in Luke chapter 8, verse 41. Luke chapter 8, verse 41. We can see that later. And Acts chapter 21, verse 20. Acts chapter 21, verse 20. With the dative of it just says PERS, probably a person or something like that. Or I don't know what that means. That abbreviation PERS. I don't know what that means. Okay, to have to possess. To have to possess. Acts chapter 3, verse 6. That's a famous story where Peter says, silver and gold have I none. That's the same Greek word. The same Greek word found and located in verse 6 of chapter 2 of Philippians. This is actually verse 6 of chapter 3 of Praxis Apostolon, the Acts of the Apostles. Now, the next verse that has this word, okay, huparko, is the same book, Praxis Apostolon, the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 4, verse 37. Okay, part neuter, plural. Now, coming up over here is huparkanta, and that is the plural. The alpha is making that word plural. Things which one possesses. Okay, goods, property, and that's Matthew chapter 19, verse 21. But let's see if we can see one of these. Okay, Luke chapter 8, verse 41. I want to check that out. 8, verse 41. Let's check out the time. Okay, as we look specifically at each Greek word of this great hymn, this Christological hymn. Okay, we still have time. Well, let's check it out in the app, actually. Luke chapter 8, verse 41. Let's check it out. Now, let's go to the English, though. Okay, we still have about like 4 minutes. It's not that bad. Let's go to the NASB because it's one of the most literal translations ever made. One of the best. So let's go to Luke. Okay. Luke chapter 8, verse 41, I believe it said. All right. Okay, that's 40 over there. That's 41 over here. So let's check this out. It says over here, okay, remember huparko is a Greek word here. Luke chapter 8, verse 41, the Gospel kata Lucan, chapter 8, verse 41, quote, and there came a man named Jairus, and he was an official, okay, of the synagogue, and he fell at Jesus' feet and began to implore him to come to his house. So it says, and there came a man named Jairus, and he was an official. Okay, let's check out the Greek here and see if we can locate the Greek word behind the word that's translating that. Okay, and so let's check this out. I hope I have time for this. Okay, so let's go poke the bear. Okay, Luke 8 verse 41. 41 is a lot, but we'll get through it. Okay, 41. Okay, let's poke the bear here. Let's check it out. Let's see where huparko is located at. Okay, what word is huparko? And Greek word kai, behold, idu, came elthen, okay, a man, aner, okay, whose name, anama, one name, by the way, Yerius, oh, there's a diuresis over here. Yairas. Now the diuresis is breaking up, the supposed diphthong over here. Okay, when you see two dots like that, don't say I. Say I. Okay, I. Don't say I. Those two dots are diuresis pointing out. Those are diacritics. That's a diacritic marker. And it's pointing to the fact that, that you're to pronounce that AI, not as a diphthong, but as separate letters. And Greek word kai, he, okay, hutas, third person personal pronoun. Okay, there you go. A ruler. Okay, a ruler. There you go. Archon. You see? Archon. Ruler. Okay, of the Tes synagogue. Synagoges was, but wait a minute, look at this. Look at this. Okay, that's it right here. Okay, huperken was. There you go. He was. He existed. He was 5225. There you go, right there. Okay, huperken. Okay, so huperken is and you see the lexical form. Huparko. That's our word. This is Angelo Quinones giving glory to the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. Thanks.